Hello there today. I'd like to invite you back to Faith Mountain, friends. We're here today to look at some parenting skills that may help you. Some things work, some things don't work, but it's a way of getting an interpretation from someone else and how they've seen it happen. I have many years of experience working with children. It's going to be 25 years this year, and in that process, I've been able to develop and work with different parenting mantras that have worked for different types of behaviors and different children. Not all children are alike. You know, last time I met with you, we discussed that some things are organic, some things are environmental. Environmental behaviors learned in your home. Organic behaviors, what goes through your DNA. So today we want to look at your children's character. What is the character that you're looking for from your kids? You know, what is their personality, how they respond, how that you feel that they're part of the family and that you can listen to what they say. Many kids that I've worked with for many years, one of the things they say is, nobody listens to me. They talk at me, but they're not listening to what I'm saying. Now that's a two-edged sword, because what can happen is they can turn that around and no matter what you say or how you try to help them, claim that you're not listening. But the key thing is active listening. And active listening is where you say back what they said and then give your response in the same sentence. And you can use it as a game with your children to begin with before you have to actually use it in a battle with them, where you start working on, if little Johnny says, I would like an apple, you would say, did I hear you right? Would you like an apple? Yes, you may have an apple. That's active listening with the feedback, so that little Johnny starts learning how to communicate and that he knows that you're hearing him and you know he's hearing you. And then when there's a disruption, you can say, but we talked about this. Do you remember? So I hope that can help you. And as we start working through today's session, we're going to see other ways that can make it easier when you're facing a battle, when they're trying to take a situation and power play it, because what is important is you remain consistent, you continuously redirect them back to the real goal here, so that their character develops and knows that what mom says, what dad says, what grandma, grandpa says, whoever's taking care of me, that they're genuine, they care about me, they mean it, and I can build trust from them. As we are discussing children not all being the same, even though they may come out of the same environment, it reflects too on the DNA and where they are. Some get angry really quick. Some don't get angry at all, but yet you see later on they've done something like they're trying to get even with you. Parenting is difficult because no two kids are alike, and it really takes you and your significant other to co-parent and stay on the same page so you can be consistent to modify that behavior. Now, an important thing also for us to look at is to realize that sometimes a child may act out, like they're angry no matter what you say. Anytime you tell them, hey, Johnny, I need you to go and pick up your toys in the living room right now. I'm not doing that. You can't make me do that. Don't you think that's going to happen? You know, on that line. And you're sitting there going, what do I do now? Sometimes what really works for a child that always seems to be defiant is give them two choices and make them have the ability to choose which choice is better for them to do right now. Because when they feel they have control, then you can reason with them. Remember, we're modifying behaviors. Not all behaviors are going to work right off. The consistency of doing it over and over and over while modifying to get change to take place. Because how many times have you found that when someone tries to give you instructions, the first time it's like you're trying to learn the technique. The second time you kind of have it a little bit better. And by the third, fourth, fifth, 10th time, you've got this ace. Well, you feel good about yourself. That's the way kids are. When they feel that they're up against the wall and there's no choices and they don't have any control, sometimes they lash out at you because you're the person that has the control. But when you slowly start working with them and get them to a place where they start understanding that you're not upset with them, you're not angry at them, but you're trying to meet them where they are, and there are things that need to take place. What you're doing is you're building their character. They're becoming wise and strong of what the needs are in the family structure so that they can support the environment of the family with mom and dad and with their siblings. What is age-appropriate behavior? What I see many times is we think a child should be at here when they're still down here in certain areas. It doesn't mean that they're behind. It just means that that has not developed to bring them from here in their understanding in a certain situation up to here. And you know, that's part of building the child's character. So let's look at a scripture here. It's 2 Timothy 3, verse 14 and 15. But as for you, continue in what you have learned and have firmly believed, knowing from whom you've learned it and how from childhood you have been acquainted with the sacred scriptures, which are able to make you wise for salvation through faith in Christ Jesus. That's 2 Timothy 3, 14 through 15. And what is important here, as we've looked at age-appropriate behaviors, we're looking at a child that may not be where they should be emotionally yet. Remember, every child is different emotionally. Every child has a different personality. Many times you expect a child to be something that they're not able to at that time. That's where you become the first teacher, educator your child has ever been. It may not be to the point where you would like it to be, but every day is a journey and a progress to get them to be where they are so that you feel comfortable, that they feel safe and secure inside, and that their needs are being met. It's very important to understand every child is not the same. So let's take a moment and look at character. Character is a really big word, and character tells a person a lot about who we are inside. So when we look at character, are you kind? Are you generous? Do you have integrity? Do you go beyond measure in a lot of areas where you're patient, you're understanding? Those are areas that are good qualities. So look at yourself. What are the characteristics that you have that are really high on the list that you're just like, I'm good at all of this. This is who I am. And what ones do you need a little assistance with? Because when you look at where you're at and you look at what your character represents in your life, and then look at your spouse or look at your significant other. What are the characteristics that you really like about them? But what ones need worked on? Because when you share a child, those characteristics are part of that child's DNA as well. So what you need to see is where both you and the father of the child, where you rank in your characteristics, where you're high, where you're low, and then start saying, you know, I need to work more in these areas. Spend more time with your kids. Do activities with your kids. And then you're going to see how it develops. Remember, every age group, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4 children or more, each age group is going to have different personalities. And don't always expect something that they're not able to do developmentally at the age that they are right now. Character is something that'll be with them forever. And you are able to mold them by behavior modification to get their character to develop. I remember a long time ago, I knew this person that no matter what everyone else did, they always thought everything had to be fair. And they were very concerned continuously, did everyone get their fair share? And what happened and developed out of that was, as the behavior was modified, they became more and more concerned about people. They were more understanding. They were good listeners. And so developing those characteristics at a young age may not be what they will be a few years down the road, but we know they're on the way. So just get to know your kids. They're one of the most precious gifts that the Lord has ever given you. They're not just children. They're prized possessions. They're what God has blessed you with, and getting to know them is what's going to bring you to that next level of understanding. My children are very important to me, and I love to be with them, around them, and I can make these changes one step at a time. So as we're looking at character, we also need to look at discipline versus punishment. Many people don't understand the difference between the two. Discipline is when you do something that modifies the behavior. You do it in a short period of time so that you can keep working with them over and over and over through the day, through the week, through the month. Maybe a behavior warrants that you need to take away one of their toys. Don't take the toy away for a long period of time. Take it away for a half hour. Take the TV away maybe for a half hour. Take some gaming console away for a half hour. Then give it back. When that behavior arises again, take it back away. Be consistent. Follow through. Co-parent with whoever is in the home with you so that you're able to work on a behavior and modify it. Now, punishment is different. Punishment is where you go way out there, and maybe you're going to take something away for 6 months. Who's really being punished? You are, because you're not teaching that child that if they can work on that behavior, they can get it back. You know, we look at discipline and punishment also as something that's physical. It's not. It's behavior modification. Well, I don't know if that really works for my children. It works for all children because you're slowly working on their character, you're working on their integrity, you're getting them to understand that if I get angry, it's okay right now, but we're going to work through it, we're going to calm down, we're going to seek alternatives so that we're able to be brought back into communication with the rest of the family and be part of the family. So keep that in mind. There's a big difference between behavior modification using discipline and punishing a child, because what ends up happening, you're the one that gets punished. As we're looking at character, we're going to look at King David and look at King David's character as a little boy to a young man. He was very, very thoughtful, very considerate. If we look at 1 Samuel 16, we see that he was put out into the pasture to tend the sheep. So he had been able to go out alone. He was a protector. There was integrity there because the dad knew that he was able to allow him to be out in the fields alone. While he was out there protecting the sheep, he was able to, at one point, having to kill a bear, having to kill a lion. So we see David was able to, even as a young man, he was thought of as very highly, that he was able, in character, to provide a service that needed to be done, which was taking care of the sheep, which would have been the family's livelihood. So when we're raising up a child, what elements are you putting into that child?
What elements are you saying that you need out of that child so they can maintain a healthy attitude? Because what you're putting in is what you're going to get out. You know, that's where the trust and the respect start coming in. So even when Samuel was called up to find a replacement for Saul, the Lord anointed and blessed David to be the next king of Israel because of the character and knowing that he was going to be able to meet the standard to protect Israel. And that's when David actually went forward with a slingshot and he killed Goliath because the integrity that went through the years was in him enough to protect Israel and make a stand. Again, keep in mind, what you put into your child is what you're going to get out. What words are you speaking over your children? What are you saying about them? Do they hear you talk about them? We're looking at character, and what character they grow and have comes from you, comes from the dad, because the words that are spoken and the things they hear are what goes into the heart. And what goes into the heart is the character that comes out and acts upon things. Well, hello there, buddy. Oh! I am really glad that you're here to join us today because we're looking at character. What character do you feel that you have? I don't understand character. Character is what is within you. Are you kind? Are you patient? Do you make sure that you put others before you? Do you get angry? Are you quick to get angry, I should say? What is your character? Oh, I love people. I love Jesus. And I think that I take time to listen because I want to be listened to. And then I'm able to work with other people. Yes, I get to work with other people. Yes, you do. But, buddy, what's important? Were you always that way? No, I was a little self-centered. Yes, most kids are self-centered. So how and what changed you, buddy? Well, Mom and Dad always talked to me. They always talked to me and told me when I did things the right way, and when they weren't the right way, they would help me and support me to do it the right way. All right. That's really good. So you're saying that you had to learn and grow. Oh, yes, I had to learn and grow, and I enjoyed it very much. They gave me responsibilities, and I followed through. So you followed through with responsibilities. Were you rewarded for following through? Well, kind of I did now and then, but after a while I did it just because I loved to be part of the family. Very good. Yes. And was there anything else important in your family life? Yes. Mom and Dad always directed us back to Jesus. Our family looks to Jesus for support in all things because we can't do nothing on our own. Very good. Well, you can do things on your own, but usually it gets a little hairy for you. Yes, we always want to make sure that Jesus is the reason that we do things because we have love that conquers all things. Yes, we do. So I'm glad that you joined us today and gave some time to talk about your character and building character because that's very important. So, I know. Just keep in mind, everybody, sometimes I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I know. Sometimes I get a little angry. Sometimes I get to the point where I just don't understand. But I know, Mom and Dad, listen to me. Yes, listening to us is very important. We all need to have people with listening ears to hear how we feel inside. Yes, we do.